with your energy forecast for Wednesday, November 22nd. So today we do have the moon in Pisces energy going void, of course, at 10:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're locking into Aries energy at 12:20 p.m. So anytime that we're transitioning out of Pisces energy into Aries energy, it's always a very welcome shift. It essentially means that we are all entering into a new emotional cycle, a new intuitive cycle, a new awareness, if you will, and new creative force energies to actually work with. The Pisces energy was the ending chapter, the closing chapter, the completion point. The moon in Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, is an initiator energy, which we've all been waiting for. Fancy enough, we're actually diving into Sagittarius season here today. A very interesting dynamic, the sun moving into a mutable fire sign, the moon moving into a cardinal fire sign. This is initiating, this is action energy, this is passion, this is excitement, this is experimentation and discovery time. We are definitely diving all the way in with this particular shift. And in a couple of days, we're going to have Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our passion, our desire, our inspiration, our motivation, our determination, move into Sagittarius energy as well, which is a very welcomed place for him to be in. And we are definitely going to see the forward movement definitely unfold for us. So here today, we have 13 different aspects. 8 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon, while still in Pisces energy, is going to semi-square, creating a little bit of a tension, a little bit of a conflict with Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. He's retrograde in Taurus energy, trying to show us where it is that there's been a little bit of a grow up, of a glow up within us. We're changing, we're transforming, we're learning a lot, we're integrating. And because of that, because of the new version of self that we're currently testing out, because of the new timelines that we're in, the new soul contracts that we're exploring, this is illuminating for us where it is in our inner realm that we want to create new opportunities for us to push the boundaries of our comfort zone, of our talents, of our skills, of our abilities, in order for us to create something new in our physical realms. So the moon interacting with Jupiter in this way, because it's not the greatest aspect, this can feel very overwhelming. The pressure for us to decide what it is that we want to do, what we want to create, what we want to bring to life, what we want to pursue. There's a lot going on there. And of course, the moon in Pisces, because we're hypersensitive, because we're picking up on subtle energies from our environment, from other people, because we're being downloaded with new insight, there's a lot going on. And if we're overwhelmed or overstimulated, our natural reaction to that is to pull back, to kind of be isolated, to kind of numb, to avoid, to really just kind of live in la la land. So this is a point in time where we may not be feeling as optimistic, as confident as we would like to feel, because the choices, the possibilities are so freaking overwhelming right now that we're just confused. We don't know which way to go. And many of us can feel very, very much pulled into different directions. The moon in Pisces is going to interact with the North Node in Aries energy. This is going to work for us because it's showing us the potential to start fresh, to start new, to take a step in a different direction, the right direction, and to start initiating a new focus, a new target, new dream, new vision, new goal. This is going to illuminate for us where it is that we have grown, where it is that we have healed, where it is that we're opening ourselves up to new learning chapters, to new self-discovery, to new opportunities. And this is definitely going to get us a little bit more on board with kind of percolating over the different options, the different possibilities, the different opportunities that we currently have in front of us, what we want to dive into, what it is that we want to create. Now, the moon in Pisces energy going to come up to, bump into, sit next to, team up with Neptune. Neptune rules over this Pisces energy. He's been retrograde in this Pisces energy for the last couple of months, making it a little bit harder for us to tap into that imaginary realm, that higher self, to really gain the type of visual from our higher self that we've been looking for. Instead, Neptune retrograde in this Pisces energy is helping us to confront the things that we, typically speaking, would run from, would avoid. This is an opportunity for us to face our fears, to face where it is that we've created a little bit of a white lie, a delusion, if you will, in our lives in order to kind of give us a permission slip to not do the hard work. This is why we've been going through very heavy layers of karmic shadow work individually and collectively. So having this particular interaction, first of all, it could go one of two ways. If we are kind of seeing the positive manifestations of this particular interaction, then we are going to feel rejuvenated, refreshed in our soul space, in our spirit space. We are going to be able to download a new vision, new dream, new goal, new target. We're going to be able to align with our higher self and really feel pushed, pulled, or guided into a new path, into a new direction. The not so nice manifestation of this energy is that we're overwhelmed, we're confused, we are feeling the pressure, we are kind of down on ourselves, we are thinking of all the reasons of why we shouldn't start something new, we're trying to justify our inability to have the kind of optimism and confidence that we currently need to jump into a new creative chapter. This would be the quote-unquote breakdown before the quote-unquote breakthrough that will be coming when the energy shifts into Sag season, and of course the moon shifts into Aries energy. Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, she's in her rulership in Libran energy, trying to balance out the scales. She's trying to create peace and harmony, balance, security, stability in her life. She's trying to process her new thoughts, her new emotions. She's trying to rearrange and reprioritize who and what means the most. Needs the time, the attention, the energy. Well, Venus is going to interact with Saturn. Saturn's the lord of karma. He rules over roles, responsibilities. He rules over structures and foundations. He's in Pisces energy now, very slowly but surely going direct in the forward motion. And because of that, we have a new willpower. We have a new discipline that we have to really tap into in order to bring forth the cornerstone foundation needed in order for us to build this next chapter upon. Now, this is going to show us our limitations, where we're feeling trapped, where we're feeling blocked, where we're feeling like we're wasting our time or we're wasting our energy, or we are not bold or brave or courageous enough to kind of cut people or things out of our life. This is kind of like a reality check when it comes to our heart space. And so, yeah, we're in this particular point in time where we realize that in order to start fresh, we are going to have to close the door on some long-term particular aspects of the life in which our old self had created that maybe we're just not a vibratory match for any longer. Because this is kind of, again, we'll kind of get there. Venus will oppose Chiron later in the day, but this particular energy, Venus and Saturn, with this kind of opposition to Chiron, there's going to be some disappointments in realizing where it is that some people aren't going to be part of the path and moving forward. There's going to be some disappointment, a little bit of a harsh reality check, focusing in on the differences of what it is that we once wanted versus what it is that we now want. There's going to be an awareness of where it is that we're feeling weak and raw and vulnerable instead of the strong, bold bravery that we want to be standing in. This is a very temporary, very small window of time when we're going to feel very low, very jaded, very overwhelmed, especially when it comes to the ever-changing relationship dynamic, coming down to who it is that needs to stay, needs to go. There's an illumination also around our own self-worth, right? Because of course, relationship dynamics are just mirroring back to us the parts within ourselves that need a little bit more time, love, and attention. But that worth is also being manifested in our physical realm as monetary situations. And so because Venus is very much about love and money, the focus with this particular, let's call it negative narrative coming from Mr. Saturn and of course Chiron, is really going to put a very dark perspective on our relationships, on our social situation, on our own self-love, self-worth, and on our money matters as well. There is a need for us to sit in this discomfort. There is a need for us to realize where it is that we're feeling a little bit heartbroken at this current situation, at the awareness of what needs to end in order for new things to begin. There's a lot of fear, a lot of doubts, a lot of insecurities popping up within us. And we are definitely going to be experiencing some anxiety. We're going to be experiencing the Debbie Downer type of negative narrative, but we have to become aware of where it is that we're feeling these things and to who we are feeling these things towards in order to understand what needs to change, what it is that we've outgrown, what it is that we need to transform. The sun at this point is going to shift into Sagittarius energy. This is like optimism and confidence being instilled in us again. This is like a new belief system, a new renewal of our hope, of our faith, of our wishes. This is a new perspective, a new horizon, new opportunities that are now kind of shifting our mood, our attitude, our perspective out of that funk that we've been sitting in, and realizing where it is that once we kind of cut off this dead weight, where it is that this is going to allow us to kind of fly a little bit higher than what it is that we've been previously flying at. If you want to go ahead, take a listen to the astro forecast that I put out for Sag season, I definitely would welcome you to do that. There is a Sagittarius season e-guide also available for download to help you navigate the astro events that will be taking place in Sagittarius season. The moon still in Pisces energy, going to sextile, great interaction with Pluto, the great transformer, who is in Capricorn energy. I love this because, of course, Pluto's here to kind of show us where it is that there's been a major change and transformation in our inner realm, where our emotions, where our intuition, where our perspective is concerned. But even more than that, there's a lot of, I'm going to say, vision, a lot of downloads coming in. And of course, Pluto is transforming that darker funk into something lighter, that pain into something powerful. And because the moon in Pisces is kind of, it is a water sign. So we go very, very low, low, and then we get to experience high highs. Well, this is a good situation, a good indication that we're riding a high right now. This is a good indicator that whatever it is that we're now sitting in, which is a positive mind frame, more, I'm going to say, of a vision, of a dream, of a goal, of a target, of a purpose than before. This is definitely putting us in a situation to think long term on what it is that we would like to see for ourselves, so that dealing with the present moment of what it is that we have to cut off and clean up before we can get started doesn't feel as heavy, doesn't feel as weighted. The moon in Pisces going to trine, beautiful interaction with Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, even our anger, still very much in his rulership in Scorpio energy. This is water on water action here. Water action means that there's an emotional change, emotional growth, emotional transformation. This means that we somehow are getting downloaded with a new inspiration, a new willpower, a new mood, new attitude, a new perspective on what it is that we have to do to actually move forward. Keeping in mind, Mars is fresh. He had his birthday on the 18th. He had the conjunction with the sun. He's been rebirthed. He's been reborn. He's in his rulership. He is really empowering the inner energy that we need to be cultivating right now in order to figure out a path, a plan, a strategy on what we're going to execute first. And you best believe that when Mars moves in to Sagittarius energy here in a couple of days, we are going to hit that green light go, hit that gas pedal. We are going to be taking lots of action in our lives, but we have to do it in the proper way so that we're not wasting time, energy, or any kind of our attention on things that haven't been previously planned out and strategized. So this particular interaction, we're growing in our inspiration. We're growing in our motivation. We're tapping into a new determination. This is the warrior type of energy that we need to get us kicked off in the right path, in the right direction, to pursue the path, the plan, the purpose, the mission that we're now being downloaded with. It's at this particular point in time that the moon is going to go void, of course. And just a reminder, when the moon is void, things get very shaky. They get unstable. We're not really as sure about some things as we were previously sure of them. And now we're starting to question things. But while the moon is in this void situation, we are going to have Venus oppose Chiron. So we talked about this earlier because we are kind of with an orb. When Venus kind of popped off with Saturn, that Chiron energy was building. And so now we are sitting in the wounds of our relationships. We're sitting in the wounds of our lack of self-worth, lack of self-esteem. We are sitting in our fears, our doubts, our insecurities. We are questioning who it is that we are or who it is that we would be if we cut off this person out of our lives, if we change jobs, if we move situations and scenarios. There's all kinds of changes and transformations going on in relationship dynamics. Many of us have intertwined our identity, our energy so tightly with other people that when we come to realize that we've outgrown this particular life lesson with this particular individual, we don't know who we would be without them. This creates an identity crisis. This instills fears, doubts, and insecurities in us, and it puts us in a state of paralysis where we do nothing. We stay in situations that we've outgrown. We stay in relationship dynamics that have run their course. So this is a realization on how deep the wounds actually are in our own self-worth, in our own self-love, in our own self-confidence to stand on our own by ourselves, removing ourselves from situations and relationship dynamics that are no longer serving us. The moon will lock into that Aries energy at 12:20 p.m., again, Eastern Standard Time. About 15 minutes later, we have the moon in Aries energy, fresh, initiating, passionate, bold, brave, courageous, wants to take action, wants to make moves, wants to initiate and start something new. Trining, beautiful interaction with the sun, now in Sagittarius energy. This is fire on fire energy, guys. This is ramping us up. This is getting us excited, getting us more in a mode to go out in the world and do all the things that we've been scared and hesitant to do. Now, granted, this is an emotional charge that we need to cultivate before we actually physically engage the body to make all the actions and make all the moves. However, when the moon, our emotions, our intuition, our unconscious selves, and the sun, our life force energy, the soul, the spirit that needs to be expressed here in our physical egoic avatar, when they come together in a positive way, there's always a new awareness. There's always a new energy coursing throughout our bodies. This is a new creative force energy that we're working with. We are finally starting to sit in the peak energies of our emotions where we are gaining excitement and anticipation for what is to come, what we are going to create, what we are going to explore and experiment with, which is what Sagittarius season is all about. The moon in Aries then going to make a positive interaction with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, sitting in this Pisces energy. So you want to talk about building willpower and determination and discipline. This is the kind of energy that we need. Emotionally speaking, we are engaging with Mr. Saturn. Is he a Debbie Downer? Is he a negative Nancy? Not right now. Right now, he's like the military grandfather saying, listen, I love you. I want you to do good, but you got to get up off your ass. You got to get out of your own way. You got to take action. You got to make move. You got to boss up. The moon in Aries energy is all for this. We want nothing more than to do all of those things so that we can jump into and start something new. This is essentially, I'm going to say, the inner cultivation of the green light, go ahead energy that we've been waiting for. This is about taking our emotional excitement, anticipation, even anger, if that's the fuel that you're working with, and understanding where it is that we got to get our shit together, where it is that we have to start fresh, where it is that we have to start building something new. Routines, systems, foundations, structures that will house this next building chapter that we are about to jump into. The sun now in Sagittarius energy, making a very positive interaction with the North Node in Aries energy. This again, fire on fire. We love fire. Why? Fire burns through the cords that keep us attached to the old. Fire rejuvenates us, regenerates us, our soul, our spirit, our warrior type of attitude. The sun and the North Node, which again is our soul point, our destiny point, the path that we need to be on to reach our soul's mission, our soul's purpose, our soul's quest. This particular interaction is showing us a bright light, a new mission, a new purpose, new possibilities. Again, the sun in Sagittarius wants us to push the boundaries of our comfort zones, wants us to explore uncharted territory, wants us to be in experimental mode to really see where it is that we can break free from the old ways of doing things and where it is that we can try something new. We are building a new belief system within ourselves. We are trusting ourselves and the greater, grander plan of the cosmos. And because we are amping up in these energies, raising our vibration, raising our frequencies, the path moving forward is becoming that much clearer. We're starting to see where there are steps available. We're starting to see where new doors of opportunity are now opening up for us. This is a beautiful energy, a beautiful interaction. It's going to give us a lot of ideas to start percolating on and sorting through and exploring. And this is what I'm going to say is the beginning of this next adventure, this next quest. Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves, already in this Sagittarius energy. Again, this is why we're kind of like ADHD, squirrel brain. We are kind of bouncing all over the place. It is kind of hard to focus on one thing and see it through because there's competing ideas. There's exciting little quests and side adventures that are popping into our mind space. Now, when communication is concerned, we're very blunt, we're very straightforward, very to the point. We're percolating on new ideas that we actually want to pursue. Mercury is going to make a positive interaction with Saturn. So this is like laser focus, okay? The Sagittarius energy that Mercury's currently sitting in does have a tendency to kind of dream too big of a dream, bite off way more than we can chew, kind of projects ourselves so far into the future that we have a hard time seeing how it is that we're going to bridge the gap from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. But Saturn brings the reality check. Saturn brings in the, hey, whoa now, great idea, big, great, grand idea, but let's slow it down. Let's be realistic. Let's add some logic and practicality to it so that we are actually kind of focused in on building the right kind of structure and foundation the first time around. If we didn't have Saturn kind of pumping the brakes and giving us a little bit of, I'm going to say Debbie Downer type of attitude, like, whoa, you can't dream that big of a dream. Whoa, you don't want to project yourself too far in the future. If we didn't have that, we would end up wasting this whole particular transit on conjuring up the ifs, ands, and buts, the shoulda, couldas, and wouldas, the possibilities that will never, ever manifest because we just bounce around with it. That Saturn energy, it anchors us. Okay, so what role do we have to play in order to bring this idea to life? What do we have to build as far as routines, systems, and structures in our here and now in order to align us with the potential and possibility that we can bring this thing to life? Because Saturn is in this Pisces energy, which he doesn't enjoy being in, reminder, the Pisces energy is very inspiring, very imaginative. This is the creative force energy. So we are having an opportunity right now to come up with some very creative solutions on how it is that we are going to build a bridge that's going to get us from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon now in this Aries energy, semi-squaring, so creating a little bit of a tension point, a little bit of a conflict with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who of course is retrograde in Taurus energy. Keep in mind that Uranus, retrograde in Taurus energy, is supposed to be illuminating for us what it is that we've already built, what it is that we've already created, and where it is that we're afraid to let go of, cut off, or surrender the old in fear of the new not living up to our dreams, not living up to our standards, and not being better than what it is that we are currently letting go of. Normally, Uranus in a favorable position would bring us an aha moment, would bring us a little bit of clarity, would bring us the breakthrough energy. But this is a semi-square, meaning, emotionally speaking, we want to get going, we want to take action, we want to move forward, but the Uranian energy is saying, you know what, we just need to calm for a second because we don't have a plan, we don't have a path, we don't have a strategy here. We love the inspiration, the motivation, the initiating energy coming from our emotional realm now, but we also need to get real and raw and vulnerable with where it is that we are holding on to the old for dear life, and therefore can't even answer the door when opportunity knocks. So it's almost like we're in a situation where, emotionally speaking, we want to progress, we want to take action, we want to move forward, but yet in our inner realm, we're a little bit hesitant, resistant to do all of those things because we're quite comfortable in this uncomfortable situation and scenario because it's familiar, it's predictable, and we don't know what it is that we're going to get if we close the door on this particular aspect of self, this particular chapter, this particular reality. So this is kind of putting us in a little bit of a funk. We've had a pretty good day thus far, energy-wise, but this is going to put us in a little bit of a funk because there's a lot of restlessness building, because we want to take action and make moves, but because there's still a lot of resistance and hesitancy to do so, we do have to find that balance, that common ground. And I think that as we push ourselves more and more into conjuring up the vision and the dream of what it is that we would like to build and create and manifest and bring to life, we are going to gain a lot more confidence to let go of the things that we're currently scared to death to actually let go of.